All right, so our next person is Cynthia, and I'm going to look at her overall physical and psychological health. Um, and let me just grab her sheet here. Most of the cohort members said that they feel physically and psychologically better. I don't think I've seen, yeah, she did. I haven't seen one person to say different than better. So let's see. So physical health overall from pre to post went up 11 points. If I throw happiness in that subscale, it goes up 14, about roughly 14 points. Regarding her psychological health from the beginning to the end of the impact study, it goes up 8.75 points. And if I throw in the two subscales of optimism and happiness, that goes up 12 points. So it seems for Synthia, happiness and optimism really fuel her physical and psychological health. Now, if you notice, some of the cohort members, it didn't really make a difference whether I threw in happiness or happiness and optimism. It didn't really make a difference. But with some, it makes a
Okay.
difference. So I is my guess is Synthia an empath? Do you know?
Like empathetic or
Like does she wear her emotions on her? Can you see how she feels? Can you is she very
yeah,
open with?
yeah. She's sometimes open.
Mhm.
She's sometimes open and not not always.
Mhm.
But she expresses. She could just express in some tears, and there are deeper ones that she comes personally to me to
Mhm.
express, but not really. I would not say she's really very open with her emotions.
Mhm. Okay. Well, she did say that she feels better physically and psychologically. What do you think? Would you agree with that and with these scores?
I, I would I would say she really went better than she came, because when she came she was currently being trafficked, she was sexually being exploited, she was physically abused, she had bruises on her and
Mhm.
no sense of purpose, hope. There was really no sense of hope,
Mhm.
optimism, and so on.
Mhm.
But when we began to study one agenda after other monthly,
Mhm.
things started changing, and she got into some decisions that were really hard decisions, like quitting from where she was trafficked to where she was being sexually exploited.
Mhm.
She left. She went into another decision of going back to school. She had a child. She had dropped out of school for about 4 to 5 years.
Mhm.
Was just roaming around. She made a decision, started going to school, and a lot of things changed around her.
Mhm.
So I would say the impact studies did so much
Mhm.
on her, because the abuses literally stopped, because she was not in an abusive environment again.
Mhm.
And I know it took courage to pull out.
Mhm. And as far as we know, she's still free and she's living. Um, does she
I
still? Does
mean,
she have her child, or did her mom still have her child? Do you know?
yeah, she needed to go to school, so she needed someone to care for the child for a while.
Mm-hmm.
So the mom was the only trusted person at that time.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. So let's go to the overview. So her pre-score was 100. How old is Cynthia again? Isn't she young? How old was she? Is she?
But I'm gonna check in that chat today and send them to you. I could give you a call
No,
and
that's
get the
okay. You don't have to. I was just wondering. Um, let me see. Let me open up my chart here. What do I got? Cynthia. I have that she's 23, so she might be 24 by now. But at the time that she took
yeah,
this, she was about 23. So she was young,
yeah,
but she
because
had already had a child too,
uh-huh.
right? So when she came to the cohort, the baby was under a year or more.
no, the baby was being breastfed. The baby was breastfeeding.
So would you say under a
I remember
year?
yeah, under a year. I remember she used to breastfeed the child right in things.
Okay. All right. So she was 23 when she started, and with a child. So her total EI was 90. It falls within the norm of 90 to 110. And if you look at, so I mean, already that's a positive. You look at the composites: self perception 105, self expression 95, interpersonal 119. I swear, I really feel as though she's an empath, but I don't know. It's just something the energy that I'm getting from her and looking at these. Decision making 82, no surprise there. Stress management 97. Her happiness score 75. All right, so if we go into the subscales a little bit, I want to look at her self regard 88, her assertiveness 102, problem solving 73, optimism 116, and yet her happiness is 75. So here we see happiness, self-regard are basically within, you know, 13 points of each other, right? So you have a lower self-regard, a lower happiness score, lower problem solving score. That's why I say self-regard and happiness, I truly believe, are linked. And optimism is what is the only thing that keeps it all together. It's like the string that holds it together. If she did not, and I remember you saying that she's like one of the most positive people you've ever met. Is that correct? Am I remembering correctly?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so it's her positive attitude and her positive outlook on life is the only thing that has kept her going. You know, she's not happy. I mean, she's just, she's not exactly real happy. She's 75, so she's not really happy. She's not really concerned. I don't know if she's concerned about being happy. I think she's more concerned about just taking care of business and doing what she has to do. When she did take this, she was in an abusive situation. She was being trafficked. So, and yet she was still positive. So it's just amazing to me and such a testament to her. Her self-regard again is low. And I would say it's not that low. 90 is the norm, on the lower end of the norm. So she's at 88, but it's low in relation to her self-actualization and emotional self-awareness, which is at 111 and 117, right? So my guess is that I'm not sure she respects herself fully because she's in a bad situation. And I'm not sure she has any sense of confidence, to be honest with you. She does understand the pursuit of meaning. She does want meaning in life. She does want to have purpose in life. Having a child might have something to do with this. Being in a role as a mother gives a person a sense of purpose and a sense of pursuit of, or being optimistic for the future, if not for self, but for that child. Understanding her own emotions, she's got a pretty healthy score there of 111 for everything that's going on. So, I'm not going to think too much about that. My guess is that she doesn't respect herself or have a good sense of self-confidence in herself. Self-expression, emotional expression, her constructive use of emotions, expression of emotions is at a 92. Her assertiveness is 102. Independence is 95. She's basically balanced within those subscales. So there, I don't think too much of it because there's nothing really, interpersonal. She's pretty solid, with a 108, empathy 118, social responsibility 126. She really has a good sense of the community and being helpful toward others, understanding how others feel. And I don't think she's living in a mutually satisfying relationship. But she certainly understands the importance of it. And it might be that I don't know. I don't know why she's got a 108. I would almost think that it would be less, because right now she's in that trafficked situation.
Mhm.
But I don't know. So decision making composite 82, problem solving 73. No surprise, she really doesn't understand how to move forward without her emotions in tow, and how to get a sense of clarity when making decisions independent of her emotions, right? Her reality testing, she
Mhm.
sees things as they are. And I believe that she does. I don't think it's being overplayed or underplayed. Her impulse control is at an 83. I'm not surprised. She is in a situation where she's living on eggshells, probably. She doesn't really want to do anything that's going to cause herself to be hit or physically or verbally abused or emotionally abused. So she's probably resisting a little too much, rather than acting on things and how she would really like to act. Um, she's really all over here. And I'm not going to even go into the balancing subscales on this, because this is the pre. Stress management, she's at a 97. Flexibility is 93. Stress tolerance, 84. Again, you see the optimism spiked in relation to the other two subscales at 116. And then her happiness at 75. I'm just going to sit there. She's all over the place. And so I'm just going to sit there. I'm going to move to mid, because I want to see at this point where she is after, 6 months or so. And her total EI goes up to 110. That looks promising. And then if I look at her subscale, her composites, self perception goes up to 109, self expression 109. I think she's gaining a little sense of self-worth, self-regard, self-confidence. I don't know, I'm guessing. Interpersonal goes up to 125. So the sense of community and the pursuit of meaning and helping others and understanding others goes higher. It's more solid, it's solidified. And I do believe that it's all about the cohort and living in that sense of community now, and having a community to be a part of, that personal connection. Decision making goes up to 95, which I think is awesome. Stress management continues to go up a little at 101. But look at her sense of happiness. Her score of happiness goes to 106, 25, 31 points. So let's see what's going on at midpoint. Self regard does go up to 95. Self actualization, emotional self awareness all go up or down. They're kind of, there's an interplay there. Self expression goes up to 109. So the emotional expression goes up to 118. Assertiveness 105. Independence stays still at 95. So she's living with this new sense of respecting herself. And so she's still hesitant. Self-regard and independence are at the same score of 95. So it's like this. She's living in the unfamiliar, and she's trying to get comfortable and get used to that. In their interpersonal is solid. She's got one. It went to overall is a 125. She got 108, 129, 129. The cohort, she needs family. She's an empath. She needs people. She's always needed people. She needs people. She needs that interaction. And when she gets it, she just feels better about herself. And you see her sense of happiness skyrockets. And I think that her sense of happiness skyrockets because she is really feeling a part of family. Family was always important, but I don't think she was living it, and now she is. It's just my guess. Decision making composite goes to 95 overall. Problem solving goes up a little bit to 79. Reality testing goes up to 117. I think she understands that, again, she is responsible for her own life. She now understands that it can be whatever she wants it to be. She doesn't fully understand how to solve problems without emotions or how to go from A to Z, but she has faith that she will, which is shows the slight increase. The impulse control goes up to a 96, so she's getting it. She's probably feeling like she can resist a little less, and that her assertiveness and her assertiveness and her emotional expression go up, right?
Mhm.
So as she
Mhm.
loosens up on her impulse control, she's kind of like treading. She's kind of like feeling the waters of the newness of this new way of living. Because I believe at this point she has maybe moved into freedom at halfway, 6 months after. But it's
Mhm.
just so
Mhm.
new. It's either she's either in her new sense of freedom, or she's almost there. That's my feeling on this. My take. Again, her optimism
Mhm.
goes is at 118. Stress tolerance 97. Flexibility goes down, which I'm not surprised about. And again, her happiness at 106. So then at the end, her total EI is 118. She goes up 18 points. This is just
Wow.
amazing. This is a woman who was probably in one of the most abusive relationships when we met her, was getting physically
Mhm.
beat, verbally and emotionally abused.
Mhm.
She was away from her family and all of that. She had a young child. Her money
Mhm.
was not her own. She didn't have anything of her own. And yet she goes up to 118. Even at midpoint, 110 really was amazing for her. So she ends up with self
Mhm.
perception at 126. That's solid. Self expression 110, interpersonal 126, decision making 109, stress management 105, and happiness has a standstill at 106, which is awesome. So she's a little like stress management is lagging a little behind. But you know what? I get it. She's got a lot on her mind. She's going back to school. She's got her child. Now her child's with her mother. She was
Mhm.
concerned. She's concerned about money. We took that concern away from her pretty late in the game, when I started giving
Mhm.
her money. Um,
Mhm.
so I get that stress management went up, but didn't go up more than it needed to be gone up. Same with decision making. And I think just over time, with the next one, I think you're going to see those scores, those three composites, self expression, decision making, and stress management, kind of get a little closer to the other two, self perception and interpersonal. But if I want to look at the subscales,
Mhm.
because I really am interested why the self perception went up so much, and it is her self regard. She's gone up 28 points from an 88 to a 116. She totally respects
Mhm.
herself. Now, I mean, she could go higher. I think 132 is the top score you can make in this. Is there room for growth? Sure, there is. But, she needs to sit here for a while. I think she needs to really enjoy. So many people are like, oh, I want to keep growing, moving forward, moving forward. And yet don't realize the importance of just sitting and enjoying where you're at. And she respects herself. She likes herself. She has a sense of
Mhm.
confidence about herself. And I think she needs to sit there and enjoy it, and just live in that for a while. Her pursuit of meaning goes up 10 points to 127. She's going back to school. She's improving upon herself. She's making great positive strides. Her emotional self-awareness, her ability to understand her emotions, goes up 14 points to a ending score of 125. She's in balance overall here. She is in balance in her self-perception composite. In her self-expression, she goes up 15 points overall to a 110. Her emotional expression goes up 29 points to a 121. Her assertiveness goes down 4 points to a 98. Her independence goes up to a 101 by 6 points. Now, this makes sense to me. She's lagging a little bit behind because she's
Okay.
in this new sense of, oh my gosh, And now it's like, okay, I can be constructive. She's being awfully, she's super positive, and she doesn't want to be completely offensive. She doesn't want to be negative in any way, shape, or form. And so she's communicating her feelings and her beliefs in a non offensive way. You know, to be honest with you, I'm just not even concerned about it. It goes down 4 points. Who cares? She's got a lot going on internally, and I'm just not even going to worry about it. And I'm just not even going to think too much about it until I see her post score, post 6 month score. Her interpersonal goes up 7 points to 126. Again, she's just solid overall, solid in her sense of interpersonal relationships and her sense of community and social responsibility and wanting to be helpful. And she understands how other people are feeling. She's solid here. She's always been solid, and she continues to be solid. Decision making goes up 27 points, which is awesome. Her problem solving subscale goes up 23 points to a 96. She's getting it. She totally understands the importance of that. Not only does she get it, she understands that she has the confidence to make her own, to resolve her own challenges. She's walking in those new waters in a confident manner, and she's getting it. And she also trusts the process. Could she have a higher score? Yeah, we're going to give her that session in July, and I hope that this is going to go up a little for her. But I see her making strides here. It goes up 23 points. Look at her impulse control went up 28 points. Reality testing goes up 14 overall. Overall, she's pretty solid. The only thing lagging here is the problem solving, and we're going to hit that home next month. Stress management goes up to a 105. You know, stress tolerance, coping with stressful situations. You know, it only went up. It actually went from an 84 to a 97 down to an 86. So overall, only up 2 points. So how is she coping? Well, she started school. She started her education. She had to give her child to her mother. She's a little stressed out. She's concerned about that. There is now we kind of took away her money issue in regards to shelter because of giving her the money. But another stress replaced it, her education. Even though you got, you know, it was paid for by you and Atali, the stress of that, the stress, these are new stresses that she hasn't had in a while. But I also think that perhaps having her mother take care of her child is, she says, a sense of concern and worry. And that might be why. I don't know. You'd have to speak to her, and that could be a question for her. You know, what is she stressed about? What's going on that she's stressing about? That would be her question. Optimism actually goes up even more by 7 points, and look at her happiness level still is even keeled at 106, overall up by 31 points. If I look at her balancing EQi in relation to other subscales, problem solving, stress tolerance, you know, is all over, is really the concern. Her assertiveness, you know, her ability to communicate her feelings in a non-offensive way is a little out of whack. I'm not worried about that. I do think that once the stress and the problem solving, um, the stress, I just think there's an external, I don't know, I just have a feeling there's an external stressor that's bothering her, and we need to check in with her on that. Yeah. And again, problem solving, we're going to hit it home. I'll be interested to see their EQi scores at post 6 months. So that's it for Synthia. What are your thoughts about Synthia? Anything that you'd like to add?
Well, I was thinking that there's a place you spoke about interpersonal relationship that was kind of high when she was in a bad relationship. Maybe that went up because she found some friends and family in court.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to stress, maybe the child, giving away the child would have been an issue. And trying to, there was a time that she was not steady at when the monthly allowance was not yet coming from you,
Mm-hmm.
that would have been an issue on her mind too, how she's going to survive and cope in this
Mm-hmm.
city.
Mm-hmm. Well, plus with going to school, would she be able to manage and take care of the baby with going to school?
And at that time, she had not taken baby to her mom.
Mm. She had not, or she did?
I mean, at the midpoint.
Mm. At midpoint, she still had the baby, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and her stress tolerance was 97 at midpoint, and then at ending, at the end, it was 86. So it had gone down 11 points.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I think she handles I think externals affect her stress tolerance, and we've got to help her with handling externals, and that's like that for everybody, some people handle external stressors better than other people, and I think
Mm-hmm.
that she is one of those people who needs to, and I do think she's an empath, and she's so positive. I think that if she, I think part of the solution might be that personal connection, checking in, talking to her, saying, what's going on? Talk to me, letting her get it out instead of maybe she's holding it all in, right? Because her impulse control went up to 111. So maybe it's off in relation to her stress tolerance is 86. So it's really not in balance. So maybe she's holding everything in and stressing herself out. Whereas if she had someone to talk to where she could walk through her challenge and try to figure it out, and maybe she just needs a sounding board, like a mentor or someone to chat with every so often about things, and maybe she just needs to unload and the stress will be gone. It could be that, it could be the child is stressing her out because she's not with her,
Mm-hmm.
and but her level of happiness is still solid, and her optimism is good. So I don't know. um so my two thoughts are that not having the baby with her is stressing her out, um
Mm-hmm.
or she's things stress, she just doesn't have anyone to talk to, she doesn't have a sounding board, perhaps, I don't know. Again, a question for her to see what's going on.
Yeah.
It's a check-in, see, to see how
I'm, I'm,
yeah.
I'm going to check with her.
Okay. Anything else in regards to Synthia?
Not for now. Not now. Something comes about.